webinar, others along the way. Once again, a good evening to all of you who have been able to join in on this webinar, on this call. Allow me to welcome you for the first webinar of 2024. And as a chapter, we promise that this year we've come back bigger and better. We organizing quite a number of events that will definitely impact on your careers, that will definitely impact on your knowledge and understanding of the activity of ISACA, and those that will help us become better auditors, become better cyber security experts, and so on. So before we proceed, kindly allow me request Brenda to give us an opening prayer, then we can begin. Brenda, kindly give us an opening prayer.
Let's humble ourselves and pray. Mighty Father, King of glory, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for we are gathered here. We thank you for this webinar. We thank you for the year 2024. We thank you for we are all here as ISACA people, King of glory. May you bless this webinar. May it be a source of learning, and may you bless the people that are going to present to us, and may you bless the people that organized the webinar, and bless everyone, King of glory, that is attached to ISACA, and bless our professionals. May this webinar lead to the building of our career. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, I've prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Thank you very much, Brenda. So today we are honored to have a panel of 3 speakers, and our event today is basically going to give us an insight onto the 2024 digital transformation. We're just going to have an outlook. Our panelists are going to be sharing on what we should expect in 2024 in regard to the IT domain. So our panelists for this day, we have Mr. Mugabi Emma, Mr. Osbat Osamai, and Ms. Rowena Trinawe. So the year 2024 promises to be a pivotal moment in the digital transformation landscape, with organizations across industries gearing up to embrace innovative technologies and reshape their operations. As organizations navigate the complexities of the digital landscape in 2024, staying agile, embracing technology advancements, and prioritizing ethical considerations will be crucial. So, what do we expect in today's webinar? We expect an overview of the key trends, the challenges, and opportunities that define the 2024 digital transformation outlook. We also expect to have insights into the multifaceted aspects of the 2024 digital transformation outlook, offering a roadmap for success in this era of rapid change and innovation. So today's moderator, the moderator we have for the day is none other than our Vice President, Mr. Maurice Taremwa. Maurice is a lifelong learner. He's the immediate past president of Rotary Club of Kampala, Alibad. He is experienced in enterprise information and technology, governance and management, risk management, compliance, financial industry policy, legal and regulatory frameworks, internal audit, and forensic investigations. And he is also interested in data protection and privacy. Maurice currently serves as the manager, internal audit at Equity Bank Limited. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, a Bachelor of Laws, and is an accredited ISACA trainer for the CISA certification. He is a certified information systems auditor, a gold professional member of ISACA since 2013, and is currently the Vice President of ISACA Kampala chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me hand over the microphone to Maurice to take us through the next session. Vice President, please take on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John, for a very warm introduction that you've given me. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all the members and non-members of ISACA to this first webinar. I bring you greetings from the President, Mr. Bernard Wanyama. He's unable to make it today and has requested me to represent him as well. So as John had stated, this is one of the ways that we seek to contribute to continual growth and capacity building in Uganda. As ISACA, our mantra is digital trust. So everything that we speak ties back to digital trust. And in today, John has already introduced the topic that we have. So my job becomes easy to bring to us the speakers whom he has given a brief about. I will be bringing them on one by one, and then we'll have each speaker have 15 minutes, and then after that we will have an interaction. I will start with Osbert Osamai. Mr. Osbert Osamai is an author. Later on, we'll be looking at what qualifies him to be an author, a speaker, mentor, a Rotarian, and an ICT professional of more than 16 years of experience, leading delivery of very successful projects across software engineering, e-services, enterprise systems integration, public key infrastructure, ICT consulting, digital transformation advisory, IT audit, and assurance in banking and private sectors. Osbert is the head of ICT advisory at Centenary Technology Services, or Centetech, as you may abbreviate it. He is passionate about enterprise IT governance and alignment of technology to deliver business value. Osbert holds a master's degree in data communications and software engineering, and recently an MBA. He holds quite a number of certifications, including CISA, COBIT, Scrum Master, TOGAF, and the ITIL certification. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Osbert Osamai to tell us, when you look at, or when you think about digital transformation, from your outlook, from your experience, and looking at 2024, the way it has started and what it's projected to be. Please share with us your thoughts in about 15 minutes or less. Mr. Osbert, over to you.
Thank you, Maurice. I hope you can hear me. And a good evening to
Loud
you.
and clear. Loud and clear. Maybe what we might try to do, Osbert,
yes.
let me start from here. What we might try to do is to let people know that they are not speaking to some form of artificial intelligence. So members, this is myself, and Osbert, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you can all see my face, and I'm not a bot. So I'll turn it off now. Yes, so I'm going to be talking about digital transformation, the way we see it this year, and specifically revolving around automation, data, digital services. So in terms of motivation, I believe we all know that any business or organization at the moment needs to adopt, needs to go digital. And what do I mean? Digital transformation is a buzzword. But before digital transformation, you start with digital adoption. Digital adoption is basically using ICT tools within your company or organization. But however, digital transformation is using those tools to improve your processes in an integrated way to improve your functions and activities over time. Now, the reason why we need to really get on board with digital transformation, especially in 2024, is that besides enhancing the efficiency of your business, you also realize new models, new business models. Once you go digital, it's often the case that you discover that you can do more things. As an example, when you go digital, you're collecting a lot of data. So that means that you can actually use that data to make better decisions and grow your business. The other reason is the ecosystem. Digital transformation enables you connect to others, other like-minded businesses, connect across borders. So that's one of the other key things. And then finally, the culture of the organization. Once you go digital, you will realize that your organization, then everybody becomes aware, embraces technology, and by so doing, the company will be able to respond to the demands. Now, one of the areas that we see continuing in 2024, continuing to grow, is artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and the like, and specifically automation using AI. As you might be aware, AI has been around for a while, and what AI does really is to mimic the human brain. So you find solutions that try to do things usually that a human being would do. And machine learning is basically using, making your machine intelligent, using data, training it over time for it to become intelligent. So one of the things that will continue in 2024 is generative AI, which I'm very sure in 2023 you heard of generative AI. This is basically using artificial intelligence to come up with text, images, videos, fine art, whatever it is, music. Right now you can generate a song using AI. So that is generative AI will continue in 2024. Multimodal AI is another. Multimodal AI basically says that, look, we have had AI before that utilizes input from one source. For instance, if you supplied me photographs of a cat and a dog, then the AI will categorize and say, this is a cat. But now we can have multiple sources. I can input images, videos, different things, and then the model is going to help me come up with a decision. So newer applications are now combining and accepting various inputs. Now, when it comes to machine learning as a skill, you may realize that becoming a machine learning engineer requires a lot of training. But now the likes of Amazon, Google Cloud, and others have come up with what we call no code machine learning, meaning that even for a business officer who's not necessarily IT, you are able to come up with some models. But while this grows, while AI continues to grow, we need to be mindful of AI ethics, issues to do with copyright. I am sure that ChatGPT, as you all know, built by the OpenAI, has been sued. OpenAI has been sued by New York Times. It's one of those cases from 2023 because they're picking content that really belongs to New York Times and then using it on their platform. Now, also the EU is coming up with AI regulations and policies. So this is something to watch out for once that is fully rolled out. Now, cloud has been around for a while. It will continue to grow this year. Issues to do with hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. This is a combination of your private cloud and public cloud working together. But also, companies are continuing to have a mix of, say, Amazon cloud services, Google Cloud, and using these in unison to achieve their goals. Issues to do with serverless computing. For instance, programmers now are developing applications on serverless, using the serverless computing, kind of paradigm. So you might wonder how that operates. But all these have advantages in terms of operational, rather capacities required to run these platforms, speed, and so on. Containerization has been around. Kubernetes is going to continue. Containerization helps you deploy faster your solutions, helps you move them faster. So that's the advantage. And this is going to continue this year as well. Now, with the advent of quantum computing really is the super machines being able to do all kinds of things. But one of the things the quantum computing brought about is, for instance, cracking of algorithms, cracking of complex encryption algorithms. So the cloud is now moving into building platforms that ensure that it's safe against quantum kind of attacks, if you like. So we shall also continue to see under cloud AI-driven cloud resource management, which means the management of your resources on the cloud will not entirely depend on that cloud engineer, but the cloud engineer will now use artificial intelligence to help in that regard. Edge computing will also continue, and integration of devices like IoT devices on cloud platforms will continue as well. We shall also see security innovations around cloud because, as you're all aware, whenever you talk to your executives and talk about cloud, the first thing they tell you is it secure on the cloud? So that is something that will continue to be rolled out as we move this year. The other thing that is we're going to see this year is personalized services to your clients. Personalized services are specifically tailored services, usually based on innovations around your multi-channels, especially for the banks. I think you relate the multi-channels, whether it's ATM, whether it's online banking, mobile banking, whether it's agent banking and the like. So these will continue to grow. Now, this will be helped by still artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence really plays a big role in all these things we're talking about. Because as an example, if you understand your customer and their behavior using data and artificial intelligence, you should be able then to tailor products that that customer can afford or within the bracket of that customer, either depending on how much money they have, their lifestyle, etc. Now, the other thing that is a bit linked to the developers is the idea of microservices. This keeps growing every year. Microservices ensures that the applications that you operate are not monolithic, is basically having your application in one place. One thing breaks, the entire application is down. So the industry is moving away from that, moving into an application that has compartments, if you like. Microservices, you have a service that does payments, another that does the notifications, another that does the accounting, and these work together. So even when one breaks, the other parts continue to operate. So these are some of the benefits. And microservices are powered by APIs. The API economy continues to grow and will continue to power microservices. So modern application platforms support this kind of microservices architecture now. So whether you're doing Java, Python, .NET from Microsoft, these are now supported, and it's the way to go. Now, the other thing that is going to continue is data-driven, well, I call it businesses, but really operating in a data-driven kind of way. This, you've seen boards struggle with this. The data is not really telling you anything. You know, how are we moving? Why do we have high costs, for instance, in IT? Why do we need to spend more in this area? What are the returns? Should I put in? Should I, take out? So in terms of data-driven businesses, we see that companies will continue and organizations will continue to define their data strategies better, come up with a better legal and regulatory frameworks, standards, guidelines for their data operations, but also comply with the things like the data protection laws in the country, data security requirements, and the like. But also in so doing, building infrastructure for data processing, storage, and ingestion. Ingestion is basically how do you get in the data from whatever sources into the processing, how do you store it, how do you share, how do you secure. So all these things we'll see will continue to grow in 2024, and analytics definitely, most especially analytics on the go. You don't want to wait for the end of the week to push data into a warehouse and then undertake some kind of analysis. You need to do the analysis on the go, and platforms are now able to do this. So, but then most importantly, alignment of all these data activities with your business strategy. So what is the business strategy? What data do you have? This is where you might have your enterprise architecture. And in that, you need to have a data architecture where you understand what data do we have as a company, and can we use this data to, take us to the promised land? If we can't, then what is missing? So these are conversations that will continue. So definitely recruiting for data, I think I missed that, hiring for data, infrastructure, and also using the right platforms. Again, this will take you, is it on-premise? Is it cloud? Is it hybrid? So therefore, in conclusion, digital adoption is going to lead you into digital transformation as a company or organization, and this will take time. However, you need to be able to measure your journey in digital transformation. And so as from a strategic point of view, your company or organization should be able to put in place metrics. Are we growing? Are we really using digital to meet our business objectives? So these would be the three kind of layers to lead you to the promised land. So with those few words, I want to thank you. Thank you again, Maurice and team, for listening to me. Those are my contacts, and I hope we can interact very soon on this matter. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Much obliged, Mr. Osbert Osamai. That's been a very insightful delivery. People, what I would like to say is we'll have opportunity to do a Q&A with Osbert just a short while after this. Please write down those questions. You can put them in the chat, or you can we could give you an opportunity to speak. So let me run ahead and go to Ms. Rowena Turinawe to also share with us. Rowena is an author, speaker, and mentor, and a proficient ICT professional, over 15 years experience that have cut across national and regional executive management level in business transformation, IT service management, delivery of complex ICT-driven projects, digital transformation, strategy formulation, execution, and consulting. Rowena was named among the 35 most influential women in technology in Africa by CIO Africa. I think that's why we say Obugalo. And that's 2020, CIO Africa 2021. And ICT Young Professional of the Year 2023. That's the year we've just concluded by the ICT Association of Uganda. Rowena is the head innovations and digital solutions at Centenary Technology Services, or Centetech, and her mantra is, when digital transformation is done right, it is like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. So, but when done wrong, all you have is a really fast caterpillar. She holds a master's degree in information systems and change management, and also holds credentials in COBIT, PROSCI change management, project management, professional, that's PMP, and the ITIL certification. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Ms. Roesa Turinawe for her 10 or so minutes to share with us her thoughts on digital transformation and what she sees coming ahead in 2024. Rowena, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maurice. I hope I'm audible. Let me
Very
just share my screen. Oh gosh.
Yeah, so as the screen comes up, just a reminder to us, when a question or comment comes to your mind, feel free to take it to the chat room or write it down so that at the Q&A time, you're able to remember what it is that you wanted to ask. Back to you, Rowena.
Okay. So my name is Rowena Turinawe. I feel like you very audibly and articulatedly introduced me. I am an IT professional. I have I'm not going to say all the things you've said. I work at Centennial Technology Services. I've spent my career leading and translating digital services and strategies into executable projects and programs. What I look for in everything I do every day is what is the business impact, what is the business value, what are we really doing, and where are we doing it. So that's really the heart of what I do. So I think I have formed a niche in digital transformation. I enjoy delivering new products, new businesses, new solutions. That's a thing I enjoy. I also enjoy, as a person, I enjoy, what do I enjoy? I enjoy exercise. I enjoy reading books. I enjoy reading the Bible, going to church. Generally, I'm just, that is me. So even before I start, I want us to just, understand who I am. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the total experience. The total experience generally, as companies continue to embrace digital transformation, they realize that there's what are the things they like to see, what are the things they want to do, who are my partners. So the total experience generally is summarizing who your customer is. This concept is generally known as the total experience, and it generally embodies what digital transformation embodies. So by taking an integrated approach to user experience and to user centricity, we are looking at how do we think of the customer, how do we focus on the customer, how is the customer key for us, how are we innovating, transforming, how are we doing everything we are doing for the customer. So as digital transformation continues to take a center, can you hear? Am I audible?
We lost you for a sec there, but audible now.
Okay. Yeah, so basically what I was saying was, as digital transformation continues to take a center stage in the world, we as tech experts have to be at the center of each, understanding that technology is no longer an advantage. It's no longer a big deal. The big deal is people. The big deal is change. The big deal is how do we transform the world that we have. So today I want to just summarize and just share my thoughts on transformation. So if you look at this slide now, you realize that most companies, if I'm being honest, most companies just say, what if we don't change anything at all and something just happens? It's a truth. If you have bosses and board members and people who they're just people in power just saying, let's stay with this. Let's stay with the old strategy. We don't have money for IT. We don't have money for training. We shouldn't really put much effort into empowering these people, because they just assume that, okay, we want to advance, right? From their angle, they want to advance into 2029, for example, but they are not willing to invest into technology now. So most companies have old stagnant strategies. They are poor on IT governance, meaning they don't regard it, they don't budget for it, they don't respect it. There's lack of training. Like if you put in a change request, as techies, we put in a change request, for example, for IT or for POC or for whatever it is, and no one is understanding it. There is no management buy-in for IT. And this is the general feel of IT companies generally in Uganda. This is the mess we're dealing with. Yet they assume that something is going to change. What does that result into? Chaos. It's just chaos. It's a joke. If you don't invest in IT, if you don't invest in the IT staff, if you don't invest, then you have poor, first of all, business continuity, because your staff are not aware, they are not alert, they are not attuned to give the company the best that they can in terms of continuity. Then you have very little time for innovation because they are constantly firefighting. Then you don't have time for strategy and development. If you're always putting out fires, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to strategize. You don't have time to dream. You're constantly putting out fires. Then you're constantly addressing audits. You're constantly reacting to incidents. It's chaos altogether. And this chaos is because we don't have management that's interested or that's invested in ICT or IT as a function. So today what I want us to discuss, first of all, is how do we achieve the total experience? How do we get to a place where we are embodying all that ICT is? The first is strategy. Strategy is establishing a plan that ensures alignment to your ICT strategic plans, assess your environment and your risks. The second is partnerships. How do we take advantage of the community, of the software incubation hubs, the pool of university students? How do we get partners who can help us develop ICT solutions? 3, how do we embrace integration? Integration normally is seen as a function of we're just integrating solutions, but it's not. Integration is about process, people, and software. So first, how do we integrate people? How do we integrate services? How do we integrate technology? And the last is change management. How do we build internal capacity to develop applications? How do we look at giving our staff new skills new disciplines, new capabilities. How do we train, communicate, raise awareness? How do we manage change? So first is strategy. So strategy is basically about establishing a plan that ensures that we are aligned to the bigger picture, the bigger goal. First and foremost, strategy cannot be possible without employees. Many ICT, not even ICT, many employers disregard their employees, but part of strategy is ensuring that employees give insight from the onset. So every dream that an organization has, every vision that they have, an employee must be involved. They must be consulted. They must be a part of that dream for it to be a success. So that's key one of strategy is employees. Are they involved? Are they part of it? Are they owning it? The second is leadership. You must have leaders who have a clear vision of the digital path. So you need visionaries. I keep telling my kids that sometimes I meet people who are just dreamers and I'm just laughing and I'm saying, oh God, these people just they dream a big dream, but dreamers are necessary. So you need a leader who can not even just dream, but who can think about what is the future? What is the plan? Where are we going in the next 5 years? Where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years? Because these people, if they pick information from their employees, can then help you go pivot to the next what? The next dream. The third pivot of strategy is planning. You have to plan. What is your plan? Rudikuchi. Are you scanning the environment? Are you looking at competitors? Are you seeing what they're doing that you're not doing? Are you seeing what you could be doing based on the scan? Are you looking at your vision and mission and seeing how do we achieve that? Are you setting goals and targets? Most times as IT people, we dream sometimes, and then we scan and then we don't set goals and visions. So part of strategy is, what are your goals and visions? Are they tangible? Are they measurable? How do we achieve them? So strategy is those three things. One, involve employees. Two, make sure you have leadership that understands where you're going. And three, make sure you plan. The next is partnerships. So partnerships is basically, if we look at the Gartner report of 2018, 70% of the respondents say that they haven't mastered the skills that they need for their jobs. And as high as 80 say they lack the skills they need to do their work. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for you as an entity? What does that mean for you as an organization? This means that if, God forbid, you're low on funds, or God forbid, you have a limitation in policy or in supporting funding for training, if you have partners, you can get the skills that you need by partnering. So you get partners who can train your people. You get partners who can empower your people. You get partners who can equip them with the skills that they need. The second thing is cost. Partners give you an opportunity to engage risk on, if it's not your cost. Partnerships help you get those skills and get those trainings and get whatever you need at no cost. So if you have the right partners in the right field at the right time, then one, you get acquired skills, but also two, you get the costs that you need. The third is acceleration. Acceleration allows you as an organization to pivot yourself, to springboard yourself into spaces that you might never have been able to. So acceleration gives you a chance to take advantage of the partners that you have. So you have a chance to get skills at low cost. You get exposure you get an advantage, and therefore you accelerate. So step 2 is partnerships. Step 3 is integration. Normally, when we hear integration, we think about technology, but integration is not just technology. Integration 1 is services, meaning that if I have 5 services that could be integrated, I should integrate them, put them together, so that if a customer is accessing one service, they don't have to suffer going from portal to portal to portal to portal. No, they should be able to log into one profile and access all the services. If I think of technology, I think about, for example, integrating technology, preferably within the frame of an enterprise architecture. I think about that to allow integrated access management, identity access management, meaning that I sign in once and that's it. So if you're giving a service to your customers or to your staff, they should be able to log in once and that should be fine. If we are thinking about sharing data, they should be able to share data across the platform once. If I think about generally sharing services, it should be seamless. So there's services, there's people, there's technology, and there's people. So for people, integration comes in from an operational level agreement perspective, meaning that even though I have integrated services, I've integrated technology, I have done the most, even the people who are supporting those services and supporting the technology must be integrated. How? They have to have operational level agreements, meaning that if they are committing to give each other a service, they should know that in X amount of time, they will support one another. So that's really generally integration. So it's services, technology, and people. The last, change management. Change management is really a people issue. So the first issue is people. How do you motivate them? How do you engage them? How do you encourage them? How do you make them feel like their jobs are worthy? That's part 1 of change management. Change management also includes skilling. According to Gartner, 64% of managers believe their employers will be unable to keep up with future skills. So skill shortage will prove to be one of the main barriers to digital transformation within organizations. To overcome this, we must encourage training skills so that the entire organization is prepared. So change point 1 is motivate them, encourage them, that's people. Change 2 is skill them, train them. Stage 3 is communication. Communicate with your staff, your vendors, your partners. They should always be informed of what's happening, why is it happening, what's in it for them, and how does it go. So that's how you manage change.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rowena, for taking us through that, transformation, or if I may call it some kind of metamorphosis, if we relate it to the caterpillar that you are talking about, from strategy to partnerships, integration, and managing change. Thank you so much, Rowena. I'd like now to move on to our other speaker before we go to the Q&A. Maybe a reminder, we do have a Q&A option available. Thank you, David, for posting in your question, and that will be attended to. So, not to say least, but not to say last, we usually say last but not least. I would like to introduce Mr. Emmanuel Mugabe. He's an author, a speaker, and mentor. an IT professional with over 15 years experience in ICT governance, risk, cybersecurity, assurance, data protection, IT audit, privacy, data transformation, consulting, and regulatory compliance. Emmanuel has offered advisory services in these areas for many organizations across both public and private sectors. He holds a Master of Science degree in ICT management, policy, and architectural design, and also holds these credentials. Is a certified data privacy solutions engineer, certified information security manager, a CISA, ISO 27001 lead, senior lead implementer, and an EC Council incident handler. Mr. Emmanuel Mugabe, 2024 is here. We have looked at some of the trends that we expect to happen, and we have also looked at the metamorphosis in digital transformation. What else should we look out for in 2024? Over to you, Mr. Mugabe.
Thank you so much, Maurice. I request for permission to share my slides. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. I'll just dive straight into this. Thank you all for gathering here in the evening before a public holiday. My first trend is about something called everything as a service. And this is basically a new way within which the companies that rely on deliver services to customers. So it's based mainly on subscription. You pay as you use model, and you can get a range of so many services that you can use as a business. The way we know it is in different phases. It could be software as a service that we all know, platform as a service, and all these other services that most of us know all about. About the last 10 years or so, the main ones were the top three, but now we are seeing that the range of things that services is totally increasing day by day, and with the different companies all competing for customers' efficiency, we're seeing so many phases of everything as a service coming into play. Here's what we know so far. The first is no longer just about clouds. It's no longer just about the platform alone or the infrastructure alone or just renting out some virtual servers. It's now much more beyond just the cloud alone. We're going to the application layer. Services, Osbert and Rowan have greatly touched on that. Number two, what we know is that for most companies, organizations that have staff in the organizations, these were trained around 15 years ago. And the technologies then are not where we are now and where we are going. So companies now, or CEOs, have less room to train existing employees because some people are already way past training, and it's a cost as well to train someone. Training doesn't guarantee that someone will perform. So we know that is currently a problem facing all enterprise organizations. Thirdly, there's limited talent availability. As you've seen, the cloud requires a different skill set. Everything's most of the infrastructure and technology stack is not on-prem. From the soft layer upwards to the things that Osbert was talking about and some of the things Joanna touched about, that's talent is limited. When last year, about 2 years ago, we released the report around what employers are looking for and the top certifications. Right now, you find it's AWS, it's Azure, it's data science, and other things. So the things that people studied long ago are not there. So this new talent, and if you look at what people are studying in universities, totally way off. So that's the third thing that we know that's impacting that trend. Based on statistics, this market size is expected to increase and expand by over 26%. which means this thing is here to stay. And us as professionals really have to tap into this and accept that this is the way that organizations are going to start delivering their services. The other thing is that the vendor will move you. So you either move on your own merit as you look out 2024 in your organization, and you look at your strategy. Rona touched about the digital transformation strategy that you have. Where are you spending your budgets? Where are you spending your resources? Because what's going to happen is that your vendor will move you. So you either move at your own will as you plan in your strategy, or a vendor can easily move you up that side. One example that all know is Microsoft. All of us know about Microsoft. Back then, it was mainly on-premise servers, Windows, AD, and all that. Today, Microsoft is pushing Microsoft 365 or 365, everything as a service. If you notice keenly, Microsoft cut out some certifications like MCSA, MCSE. Most of the certifications they are pushing now are based on the Azure cloud, and their main focus is mainly to make more money from the cloud, the licensing that comes with that. You've also seen the new ventures that have launched recently, such as Microsoft Copilot and all of that. So that is subtle forcing. The trend is clear. If you look at other partners in the same space, they're all pushing people to move online, everything as a service. So this is a trend that is definitely here to stay. The key catalysts are increased agility and flexibility on both sides, respective to choose the services. The challenges, obviously, that affect this, given where we are in sub-Saharan Africa, in Uganda, the issues of connectivity, because we know most of this cloud is running outside in different regions and different continents as well, mainly Europe and the US. So connectivity becomes a challenge. The second is visibility for the IT teams due to a shift in where the infrastructure lies or where the service lies. And that's reliance on a vendor does have an issue that it creates for a team that's used to traditional delivery of its IT services. The other is hidden costs, because whereas these things promise rosy images of flexibility and all that, there are the issues around lack of transparency around pricing. When you look at people who pay for these cloud services, from when you contract to the services that you actually use, is quite a different story. The services attract different costs, which sometimes can catch you by surprise as you're running that side. The other is scaling. I've talked about the challenge of scaling, which is affecting different IT organizations and enterprises. So this challenge is basically here, given the different roles that we have in organizations. You could be running IT audit in your organization, you could be running risk, compliance. These are areas you need to look into when you're advising or doing your job in the organization, depending on which hat that you're putting on. The risks that are there when people are migrating to this service. When you're doing an audit, are you looking out for these things? If you're doing risk and compliance, are you looking out for some of these things that could affect the organization? My second thing is around cybersecurity. This is what we know. So we are living in a connected nature of things, as has been clearly mentioned by the previous speakers. Insider threat is increasing year on year on year. In another hat, I do help law enforcement when it comes to investigation of electronic frauds. Most times we have found 85% of the time there is an insider who is involved to enable that crime. About 2 years ago, we saw an interesting trend where actually hackers send out adverts on LinkedIn and they ask, all we need is access for this period of time. We're offering $5,000, and people are sending out these targeted things to employees. So insider threat is what we know is a fact that we are facing here today. For every fraud that's committed, for every cybersecurity incident, there is an insider involved. Then we also have multiple vendors technologies, which increases the scope and level of effort for a team that has to secure their IT usage. So you find they have different vendors from your servers, from your firewall, networking, different services, and a team has to learn all these different technologies and keep up with the trend in those, with the patches and the trends and the way different vendors deliver and the different cycles that they go through. And this also increases the level of effort for a team to maintain a very good, trusted cybersecurity approach. Because of that, there's a skills challenge on the defender side. For example, most of us on the call are on the defender side. But if you pretty much look at your calendar today or the week, you're going to find it is a mix of meetings, engagements, and less time to focus on the actual job of security. I want to touch on this, what you're saying, some organizations are in firefighting mode. So the defender side, your attention is skewed to so many different things. And the flip side, the hackers have time. These guys will sit down from 8 to 5, the whole night, the weekend. All they do is crack into systems. So that gives them a very unfair advantage that they don't have to attend with meetings, engagements, departmental issues, filing reports, which can really blow out a huge chunk of time if you're a defender for an organization. On the other side, the guy you're defending against has nothing but time to hack into your platform. And that's what we know so far. So based on that, we know cyber security issues are going to increase. The annual police report reported this staggering figure of money that was lost due to cyber crimes or cyber-related crimes in 2022. We're still waiting for the report for the year which has ended 2023. But from here, you can see these amounts are crazy. Most of them are from financial institutions or fintechs, taking the large hits out of this. The trend is that these rates are going to increase. Cyber-related crime is also going to increase. It's not going to stop. So as a professional, again, depending on the hat you're putting on, these are the areas that you need to be looking to as you plan out your 2024. The first is tougher. There's going to be tougher regulatory action. Bank of Uganda is currently amending the corporate governance regulations for financial institutions. And they adding there like 3 items which are all focusing on risk. They're making it clear and constating that risk is square responsible of the board. They have put in place measures and responsibilities for CIOs, for risk, and also for information security to make it as clear, as black, as white as possible. UCC is also doing the same thing for different companies that they license and requirements on security and all that. So if you're working in a heavily regulated sector, these trends are coming. So be ready to deal with it. For those on the team who deal with compliance, be ready to deal with tougher regulatory action in 2024, squarely based on cybersecurity aspects. The other area you need to look into is the 4 I's principle. Given what the scenario I described and when I touched on it, the teams are stretched to be able to handle a proper defense job. And increasingly, the new thing is to adopt a 4 I's principle to separate those that do information security operations from those that oversee what controls are working. Are they effective? That helps to provide a better assurance for an organization that security is working right. The other is talent acquisition. You need to look into your talent acquisition for information security and audits. Information security is also shifting. All the things Osbar talked about now have to be on the attention radar for an information security professional. It's no longer configuring firewalls, access control, and all this. We're now into APIs, we're now into microservices, and that requires a different game. And that game also touches on anyone doing IT audits. For 2024, the reliance on tools for doing audits will only give you about 25% of the results that you need. Over 75% will require you to adopt new skills in scripting to be able to do a proper IT audit for an API, doing an audit for a microservice, running still. All those running plans is not enough, relying on documentation, audit reviews, type of views, and risk assessments. It's no longer enough as well. So it's 2024. In IT audit, you need to stretch your skill to be able to provide better value to your organization, given the different dynamics coming in today. So talent acquisition, you need to look into that for your organization, for the defenders, but also the people that do the IT audit. The next one is on privacy. Data protection and privacy has been around for quite 5 years or so. And what we know is that over the last 3 or 3 years, public awareness has immensely improved, and this has equipped our users, our clients, with more rights. People know what their rights are, and they get to know how to exercise them. So these are informed clients who know how to exercise their rights. So the landscape is shifting for privacy. Regulatory responsiveness is also improving. Last year, we saw one case coming out against Uganda's Securities Exchange. I encourage everyone on this call to download that case, which is up on the Data Protection Office website, and see what happened and how privacy comes into play, because it has very good lessons that you need to look into. That shows you that 2024, we're going to see more of this. The office is increasing its organization around enforcement. I've been looking at the different recent announcements and also information that has come out during this whole month of privacy. A regulator is increasing on capacity to do actual enforcement all the way up to court. One thing that stands out in the USA case, sorry to go back to that, around privacy, the law has obligations that you have to enforce. And those obligations touch on the organization, but also can easily shift to you as an individual. And if you look at that report, one of the tough actions in there was recommending for serious action on whoever was managing information security, whoever was managing risk, whoever was managing compliance due to lapses that allowed such a massive breach of personal data to happen. So as an individual here, you could easily find yourself as a profession facing such a risk on your side. So the trend is privacy mishaps are going to continue due to the laxity we see in compliance. This is going to affect both large and small organizations. As we're going to see, there's tougher regulatory action that's going to come out that people need to be aware of as we do our jobs day to day. You need to look into stepping up your compliance beyond the tick box exercise. What we've seen in our experience is that for most organizations, compliance has meant that you've registered with the Data Protection Office, you have appointed a data protection officer, you have a privacy policy, and that's it. So we need to step up to 2024 beyond tick box and actually do a bit of extra deep dive into compliance. Next thing I want to talk about is 5G. And this is just here for us as professionals to keep an eye on as we do our daily grind. Most of us have heard about 5G. And basically, the whole premise, the whole drive around 5G is more on the telecom person who's giving whatever service they're giving. So previously, not even previously, we were still using a lot of 4G. There were limitations for about 100K devices in a similar area. But with 5G infrastructure, a telco is able to bust that up to 1 million connected devices per square kilometer. And so that gives you access to connect many, many, many more clients on your for the service that you're giving. The promise is to connect everyone. We're in the age of IoT that's coming up, and all these things needs IoT, the different services we're doing, everyone needs a connection, a connectivity, which is fast, reliable. So the different things that can be supported at high speeds, which is a promise of 5G. And The trend for us here is that for now, we're still going to run 4G alongside 5G for the foreseeable future due to challenges around cost mainly. Their devices for us as end users cost quite a bit of money, and then also the technology for enterprises to leverage this new way of delivering connectivity is also quite still expensive as well. And we know that 4G has not been maxed out yet, as we know that most people, so many people who have a phone are still using feature phones. Smartphone users are still on the lower side of the scale. So for now, 4G will still coexist with 5G. This leaves the telcos, the ones that do have this less, the spectrum, we have Airtel and MTN. This will continue to target enterprises where they can connect more to compete with what they are offering now. So this is mainly going to be in urban areas and also targeting public institutions for the purposes of demonstrating use cases and all that. If you're in retail, if you're in financial services, manufacturing, the opportunities you need to look into that can accelerate digital transformation for your organization. So as you're looking into this, as you're doing risk, how you future-proofing the strategy for your organization in terms of where the trends are going. My fifth option, which is my last, is around shared services. And this is again about sharing of tools, platforms, due to the efficiencies that arise from economies of scale, standardization, and best practices. What we know is that there are growing overhead costs for most organizations in terms of their technology, their licensing, upgrades, technology refresh cycles, which are becoming shorter and shorter. We also know there's immense pressure to improve quality of services. If you switch on a service now, that service had better be on, because our clients are getting attuned to a service always being available if you switch it online. So there's pressure at all times to continuously improve quality of services. The single tower concept around how to deliver things in-house on premise is near obsolete due to cloud. And that leads us to where the trend is going for 2024. We're definitely going to see an increased adoption of shared services, and this is across public sector and private sector. The key catalysts are obviously relevance of customer services for us to push the services Osbert was talking about, for us to be relevant with the taste, the expectations of customers. We can only achieve that if we're using a service from somewhere else or integrating with another person or using a shared service due to issues of scalability. There's pressure now for leanness to try and reduce footprints that it's easy to manage in terms of technology. There is need to easily scale. One of the key issues is around scaling and budget. IT teams are always competing for IT budget with other functions in an organization. So the trend, the level of effort to scale is quite high. And that aspect of scalability leads people to use shared services which are more cost effective and allow you to move faster and also achieve cost savings. So if you look at your organization, again, depending on which hat you're putting on, are you looking into these areas? The first is migration, migrating from an in-house solution to a shared service externally. That's a migration. And there are risks that could occur, especially around integrity of data and also business continuity, business disruptions. So as you're auditing, advising on risk, look at security, there's that aspect that you need to look into migration. The second is, are you looking into defining how you're doing your IT service delivery, reorganizing away from the traditional mindset of IT delivery to the modern service-based type of delivery. Service agreements have to be fluid and locked down so that your service providers know what they're expected to deliver and what repercussions are in case they do fail to meet those things. That is our own mindset. When I touched on something to do with culture or moving from traditional to a shared service, first of all, it's going to happen. In most cases, you might find resistance in different pockets of an organization. This resistance leads to delays in projects executing, overrun costs, and affect confidence in technology. So when these movements are being done or designed, there has to be deliberate effort around mindset change, around change management. The other is risk and compliance, given different pieces of regulations. I've seen some of them in the chat already. Someone asking about Bank of Uganda, NITA, and other guys, banks, core platforms, and all that on premise, in country, in your own data center versus where this trend is moving to. So if you risk and compliance, you have to be part and parcel of the discussion in the organization for shared services for 2024. Streamlining processes comes by obvious process. And then the last is around governance of information and technology. And this is mainly driven out of the COVID, which looks at the governance of enterprise IT. So information and technology is quite covers so many things in there. So how is governance done there, where you have a significant part of your infrastructure or shared services being run somewhere else and some here, different teams? How does all that fit together when you're doing proper governance, given what we have to achieve when running a proper run show for IT and organization? Maurice, my summary and fellow participants, my summary of key trends to keep on your radar for 2024 is everything as a service. That's happening and increasing 2024. Vendors will force us to move, so we had better plan ahead. Cybersecurity is becoming very dynamic in that the teams that we rely on have to upskill because the people that we are defending against have a lot of time. Then we've seen that insider threat is quite a nagging thing that is still around and increasing. And so organizations have to look and be mindful of that as well. And also we've seen regulations now coming out on cybersecurity. The third is around privacy. Privacy awareness is increasing. Obligatory action and enforcement capability is also increasing. And this touches an organization, it touches our customers, our shareholders, our stakeholders. But also, if you read that case, even us as professionals could easily be affected if privacy is not done right. We've seen that 5G, we've seen what the promise of 5G is still quite away from us. But if your enterprise in those areas that I talked about, you need to be thinking about that to future-proof yourself. I've looked also at shared services, which is another trend that's going to increase given the pressure on leanness and the aspect of scalability, but also be able to meet our customers' demands as quickly as possible. So with all that we've said, my fellow panelists, I want to say that the 6 most expensive words in business are those we've always done things with that way. Thank you so much, Maurice.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for sharing with us your portion on what you see coming up. I will not take the members through a recap. I'm very sure everyone has been very attentive, but rather let's dive into Q&A. And really, the early bird needs to catch the worm. So let's start with the question that came in from Mr. David Kawaida. There are about 2 of them, but I'll try to, or 5, I'll try to summarize them. So the first is about the issue of a regulatory requirement to host core banking systems in country. So is asking who is the responsible party? Is it BOU or NITAU to make pronouncement on this? Some banks host their core banking systems in the cloud, yet others are stuck with this rule. Is there an exception to the former? For those that host in country, some of the workloads like the APIs, some of the apps, mobile banking, internet, and so on, are still in the cloud. Shouldn't they be failing on rule one? Rule one being hosting the core banking services in country. Lastly, can fintechs be excluded from rule one, being that they play a key role in financial inclusion and struggle on profitability? Who would like to? I think this is really a question about the requirement to host core banking services in country, and who can be exempted or not. Emma, would you like to take this question?
Thank you so much, Maurice. So here it's a bank, so the answer is Bank of Uganda. That's all banks are supervised by Bank of Uganda. The main emphasis for Bank of Uganda is to protect the I can just call it economy also. And the strongest emphasis that they have done is that if you're a bank, you need to be running where your core banking solution sits should be inside Uganda and inside your data center. The earlier regulations I talked about on corporate governance, there's a draft out there, but I think BA will be releasing one, and they're placing responsibility squarely on an institution, the CIO, to be having oversight over this. So the other auxiliary services, you could run them elsewhere, but for your core, the core of that, of the core banking platform has to run under the full control and operations of the bank, and that's in country. There's one of the banks which exited, and one of the issues had was their core was running somewhere else. They had an issue and they were not able to close end of the operations for quite a long period of time. And that, again, unfortunately empowered the drive for running core banking platforms in country. Fintechs have a leeway. The Data Protection and Privacy Act allows you to host your applications in another country, as long as that country has laws that are equivalent to Uganda's Data Protection and Privacy Act. So there's a bit of leeway for fintechs. Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you very much, Emma. I think that was spot on. A follow-up on that is talking about cloud security being one of the trends that we looked at. So the question says, how big would you say is the cloud security market on the demand side in Uganda, especially for hybrid and multi-cloud environments? Osbert, is this something you'd like to speak to, Osbert or Rowena?
Thank you, Maurice. That might have been for Emmanuel still, but so in terms of, if you talk about cloud security markets, then you need to understand who is utilizing cloud services at the moment. We would need to have those numbers. Is it mainly the telcos, is it the banks, And then, as you might be aware, most cloud services, especially from the likes of Amazon and GCP, Google, come with those security services. So, you would usually have to, assess your risks and then say, look, me, I want level 2 security, level 3 security. So in terms of the market, it might be equivalent to, if you like, how many people are hosting sensitive things on the cloud? How big is that category? That might give you an indication of that market. Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you very much, Osbert. The next one, I think we'll take it to Rowena, being on the transformation side of things. We have probably a tax collector or a potential one who has been given a target to widen the tax base. So Ivan Mugara is asking, how can we leverage IT to widen the tax base? Rowan, are you there? Otherwise,
I can chip in on that.
Osbert, please do.
So I don't know if Ivan works for the tax collector, but
Your
hi
is as
Ivan.
good as mine.
I know Ivan. He's a good man. But in terms of widening the tax base, I look at it from different angles. One is, if you want to collect taxes, how do you encourage people to comply? Sensitization is one way. You can use IT tools and to sensitize the public more about these taxes and the benefits, who is supposed to pay what. That can widen the tax base. But also, yes, sensitization and training. But then from the URA or internal side of things, you might look at using IT to monitor transactions, like now with the IFRIS, the URAs. I think I heard this morning that they've given us enough time, 3 years, and come November, September, you must comply. So again, using tools to monitor real-time transactions in supermarkets and all these places, gaming outlets will be able to increase, because then you're monitoring and you're more likely to capture accurately what is due to the government. But then finally, also really just monitoring. There are some sectors that have been difficult to regulate from the side of URA, online businesses, for example. So again, ICT can come in there, a bit more complex, but I believe it can also apply. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I do believe, like you said, indeed, widening the tax base is a composite matter. So the technology, yes, I believe they're mining quite a bit. And maybe we should also look at it from maybe if you think about reducing a percentage from 18 to 16, that can also increase compliance. So Ivan, that could be something for you to ponder. But thank you very much, Osbert. These are the questions that we had in our Q&A, and when I move to the chat, there's mostly comments. People are happy. Amari, thank you for being with us here. There's an inquiry whether we can speak about, Emma, as you are talking about everything as a service. Raphael, who is our director for certifications, is saying speak about hacking as a service and its implications to information security and digital trust. But I believe you, Emmanuel, you did speak to that, as you are telling us about some people that about insider threat. I think you did speak to hacking as a service in a way. Okay, how do I read this name, Mr. Malinga? Is it Kolisile or, my apologies if I mispronounce, but it says traditionally an auditor performs an implementation review before an application goes live. How do we apply the same concept for an organization that is migrating to cloud? When I come back to my panel, okay, please take note of that question. We'll take them in bundles of 3. Robert Catol, thanks you for the presentations. Raphael gives thanks again. Same from appreciations from Beatrice Nabukenya. Okay, we have Mohammed bin Khalifa appreciating you for the insightful information. We have Anthony Akuda also giving his thanks. So let's speak to the aspect of the auditor who needs to review to perform an pre-implementation review before application goes live. How do we apply the same concept for an organization that is migrating to the cloud? Over to you, the panelists.
Thank you, Maurice. I'll touch it and Osbert will add in. So from experience and for the number of people that we've advised, when an enterprise is undertaking a transition in a project from premise to cloud, most times it's driven by business. They have a deadline they want to meet. And reality is that they don't have room for these IT assessments or IT audits. The project managers, the business teams, it's the last thing that they want to do. They see it as a delaying tactic. So the first thing is for the design, the culture, and the organization. When I talk about culture, it's all about culture and also the skill set of the auditor to be able to have good collaboration skills, to be able to communicate the need for the IT audit and be able to perform that before going up before transferring to the cloud. And there are parameters that are out there. ISACA itself has a whole manual on that, the CCK Cloud Auditing Guideline, which I encourage everyone to read. I think for members it is free. If you paid up and log into your portal, it has a whole guide and tips on how you can go about that. For areas we've advised, we've helped people to do it before they migrated to the cloud, and we've also done it 3 months after the migration to make sure that things are working right. So those are the two touch points where we've done it. But when I talked about something called culture and mindset, that's where the biggest battle is within the teams leading these projects. The executives, they want to push business, they want to push a deadline. We need to move this application now, we need to go live, and that's it. Actually, we're laughing at the value of a pen test, because in most cases, someone could do a pen test, they will receive it, look at it, and still go ahead and go into production without fixing whatever the pen test report told them. So the IT audits is shifting now more to the skill, the collaboration capacity for an auditor. But best practice is to do that before the migration and also sometime after migration for a post-review. ISACA has a whole guide on that for cloud auditing in your ISACA portal. Osbert, do you have something to add?
Emma, you've pretty much touched on everything, more especially around third-party risk of the host, whoever is hosting you. How do they match up with your own expectations in terms of security standards? But then also infrastructure readiness, connectivity. For instance, you have a bank with rural branches all over the place, you go cloud entirely. How is that experience going to be? Do you have the connectivity? Do you have good speeds from all those areas? So that's a strategy, again, you have to look into. But also the staff who are going to manage now and maintain these services on the cloud. Are they ready? Have they been trained to do the same as they were doing on premise? And then perhaps finally, what is moving to the cloud? What is staying? Are you complying with the laws, just like we've discussed with the banks? So I think generally the framework Emmanuel referred to can help, but also this other readiness kind of checklist should be discussed thoroughly. Thank you.
Much appreciated, Osbert. We will take, in the interest of time, if there is someone that would rather use voice, please raise your virtual hand so that we are able to hear from the audience. It's already 8:35, so we can take one question from the audience. Please raise your hand. It's a new year, so we need you to be confident as we are talking about culture. I think confidence is another IT skill that we need to look out for in this year, right? Because this technical jargon has to be translated into English and then presented to board members for action for the budget to come. So confidence is one of those skills in there. Anyone with a question to raise the hand? Going once, going twice. Okay, so I think we will go back to our panel, a very excellent panel, I must say, and ask each one to give what their closing remark would be. What, how would you wrap up short, really, in a very short sentence, or you can even use a word. Maybe now we use the reverse order, but let me start with you, Osbert.
Thank you, Maurice. I think mine is to say, as we embrace digital transformation, let's be mindful of the laws and regulations, but most importantly, how it adds value to the business. Thank you.
Thank you, Osbert. Rowena, if you're able to unmute, you can give us your parting shot. Was that comes in, Emmanuel? What is your, how would you like to wrap this up?
Thank you so much, Maurice, and hello, participants on the call. Mine is about collaboration, and that's the skill that all of us have to learn and get out of our comfort zone disciplines, because IT is becoming dynamic and so diverse that you can only succeed at your role now because of very good soft skills and collaboration skills. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Before I hand back to our coordinator, allow me to tell you about an upcoming book release or launch. So these wonderful professionals, or maybe just for hindsight, you might be wondering what's up. Rowena had to take to attend to something that came up quickly, so that is why she's not giving a wrap up. But Emmanuel and Osbert have done that. So these three professionals have co-authored a book under the title Transformation Diary Initiative. So it has deep insight and guidance. There's deep insight and guidance offered in this book. It's very highly relevant to any leader at the helm of digital transformation for whatever organization they work for. The book brings to light the issues that many a time leaders do not prepare for. The authors address relevant core aspects of digital transformation that can only come by experience. Business and technology leaders will learn which issues to avoid and the best practices to adopt as they navigate paths for leading digital transformation for other organizations. So this book will be released in March this year, March 2024, and more announcements will come in later with other more detail. Interested readers should contact the ISACA administrator or send an email to pre-order the book at bookupdate@proton.me. Book update, that is one word, at proton.me. Thank you very much for being with us, and let me revert the floor to our coordinator, Mr. John Chikubye. Back to you. Thank you so much, the panelists. You are amazing. And to the audience, 2024 is really going to be an exciting year. John, back to you.
Yes, thank you, moderator, our Vice President, Mr. Maurice Tarema. Thank you very much, our panelists. Thank you very much, Osbat, Emma, and Rowena. It's been a very insightful presentation. You've really given us the insights into 2024. And as professionals on call, I believe we should strategize better. We should see how to equip ourselves better so as to remain relevant in the profession. Time is far much spent. Please allow me to just go into the announcements. Membership renewals for 2024 are on, and renewal ends on 29th of Feb 2024. Kindly renew if you've not, so that you can remain accessing the benefits, the membership benefits. Then we have also an ISACA Q&A session that will come up on the 30th of January 2024. Time will be 7 p.m. and it will be virtual. Kindly register, and more information can be obtained from our social media handles. Please register so that you can be part of that event. Still, just to let you know, watch out for our Feb CPE. It will be coming on the 28th. It will be coming on the 29th of Feb. So kindly watch out for the communications that will start coming through soon, so that you can be part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to move on to with to hand over to the board secretary to give us some remarks, and then we can close off the session. Thank you. Rita? Rita, could you be on call?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, John. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Good evening,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. You're most welcome to 2024. I just have one comment that let us carry forward the knowledge shared today to drive positive change within our organization. And of course, remember the journey toward digital transformation is not a destination, but an ongoing process. So let us stay informed, stay adaptive, and let the spirit of innovation guide our path. I just want to, my work is simple, to recognize the presence of our board members on call this evening and our committee members. We have Ms. Marion Kirihaihi, she's a solid committee member. We have Mr. Lloyd Sentongo, Education Committee. We have Mr. Bernard Arinaiche, he's a member of Marketing and Communication. Mr. Jimmy Kisomba, Finance Committee. Madam Catherine Wide, she's on the Education Committee. We have James Paul Kakembo, he's on Marketing and Communications. We have Mr. Kepatu Suvira, he's the member of the Certification Committee and as well as the Event Committee. Among the board members, we have, of course, our very own Vice President. I don't want to talk much, he was already introduced. We have Mr. Raphael Olo, he's our Certification Committee, Certifications Board Director. You're most welcome. And we have our very own, none other than the CPD coordinator, Mr. John Chikubye. You're most welcome, all of you. Thank you for coming and joining us this evening. And we want also to welcome members from our sister chapters. Kenneth Paliam, the president of South Africa chapter. Thank you for always being there and joining us. We believe we will have more members from South Africa chapter joining us. Thank you, Malinga, still from South Africa chapter. Malinga Zololi Sile, thank you for joining. We have Amari Muleken from Addis, that's Ethiopia. So thank you for joining us once again. The president delegated the vice president to give the closing remarks. So I would like at this time to welcome once again the vice president to give us the closing remarks. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vice President.
Thank you, Board Secretary, Madam Rita, for doing the honors and recognizing the dignitaries that we have. On behalf of the President, Isaka Kampala chapter, I would like to thank you very much for sparing this time to attend this webinar. I'd like to appreciate the team of Osbert, Rowena, and Emmanuel for sharing with us your well-researched insights into digital transformation in 2024. And members would like to reiterate our commitment as Isaka Kampala chapter for continual improvement and capacity building and delivery of increasingly better and good value to you as our members. And for those that are not yet members or have not yet renewed, please take this opportunity before the month closes to renew your membership or actually become a member. Thank you very much and have a very good night. We meet at the next event. Happy Liberation Day, those that are in Uganda.
Thank you. We meet next week on 30th, Tuesday.
Thank you. Thank you, members, and have a great evening.
Bye.